What's up? This is Dave from Green Hat Kiteboarding, and I just got this brand new board, but it doesn't have a trackpad. So I'm going to teach you how to put a trackpad on a board successfully so it stays and you'll never have to replace it. Stay tuned. So what you'll need: clean paper towel, Windex, a sharpened pencil, and obviously your traction. So first step, clean off that board. You can use Windex, I personally do. The last thing you want to do is put traction on a dirty board, and also you definitely don't want to clean the board with any sort of paint thinner, acetone, anything that could mess up the actual finish of the board itself. So again, I use Windex. I've used it for years. I've never had any issues with it, and it dries pretty quick. Give it about 10 minutes, make sure that it's dry, and then we'll get to the next part. So the next step is really figuring out where it makes the most sense to have the rear trackpad, your center trackpad, and your upper trackpad. So what I do is I take a look at where the boxes are. So this particular board is 5 foot 1 inch. So I know that I'm going to be a little further up than I would be on a shorter board. So that means that I want my tail pad to lay right around this area. So you can either eye it up, which honestly will be totally fine, or if you'd like, you can place a piece of tape to give some sort of a measurement area, which would mean that the trackpad back of it would land right around here. Now, with that said, keep in mind, any trackpad with a rear, you're not going to be able to stand on it. So if you have enough traction, feel free to move it back just a little bit, just in case. The next step is to line up your traction pad in a way that feels best for your stance. Unfortunately, most foil boards don't have a visible strainer to help you find the center line. On this board, I'm using the leash plug and the vent plug as reference points to find center. If your board doesn't have any clear markers, just do your best to eyeball it. Next step is to trace a traction pad with a pencil. Take your time here and make sure the pad doesn't shift while you're tracing. You've already spent the effort getting it positioned just right, so it's worth being precise. That said, the outline doesn't need to be perfect. These are just guidelines for when you stick it down. Now, after all of that precise measuring and tracing, we're going to take all these off. And this is again why we trace, so we know exactly where these are going to go. I'm going to start from the top and move my way back. And when you put these down, you want to always use a corner. And this is again why we trace. Follow the line, just like in a coloring book, and try your best. Make sure to put even pressure. We do not want bubbles. We want it all to feel very, very flat. Not everybody's spacing is going to be the same too. I particularly like a little bit more of the board to have traction all over. I do have at times a little bit of a wider stance or offset. All right, it is all on. The last thing I do suggest is pushing in the corners all the way through. Some people even take a good 24 hours to make sure that this is nice and grippy and the adhesive is good on the board. But let's be honest, every time you get something new, there's waves. So go give it a whirl. You can always use some sort of a super glue if things start to come up. It's going to come up usually in the corners right there, places where your feet are going to be bumping in, especially with where you pop up. Corners here, but just try to push it in as much as you can without pressure draining. I hope this helps you figure out, again, taking the extra 5 minutes to just kind of plan everything out really helps and makes it a lot easier of a process. I hope you dig this video. If you do, please give a thumbs up. Feel free to comment if you have any questions, and obviously subscribe, and we'll be talking to you soon. Later.